My comments today are in regards to a recent editorial I came across in the New York Times opinion page entitled "The Hollow Cry of Broke." I chose this piece because I think it highlights a huge issue that we face in America. This piece basically undermines the problem of our growing national debt and argues that Republicans are manufacturing fears in order to cut programs that they've always disliked, which in some regards is true. Although, to the Republicans' credit, I think they've disliked these programs because they don't believe government can efficiently manage things like healthcare and education. And I believe they are right about that. Anyhow, I want to talk about one of the misleading points that this article makes. It states, a country with a deficit is not necessarily any more broke than a family with a mortgage or a college loan. This is such a misguided statement for many reasons. First of all, families with mortgages generally have a structured loan that leads toward an eventual payoff date. The government has nothing even close. Only one president in our history has ever paid off the national debt, and that was Andrew Jackson. We are slowly reaching the point where the interest payments on our debt will equal the amount of revenue that the government brings in a year. Another reason why this article is wrong is because the money used to pay a mortgage actually goes to an asset. Typically, as a person makes payments over the years, the equity in the home rises so they have a valuable asset. Their liabilities are measured against the value of the asset, in this case, the home. But this does not occur with government debt. The debt we pile up goes to overseas military funding and social programs, neither of which carry much of a tangible asset value. So essentially we cannot sell off $14 trillion in assets to pay off our debt. Another thing that is important to note here is that a person who owns a mortgage is responsible for their own payments. If the mortgage becomes too expensive for someone, he can't just steal money from his neighbor to bridge the gap. Government can and does do this. The only solution to state debt problems that I hear from the left is that the rich should be taxed more. But that's pure robbery. This idea that some people should pay more in taxes is nothing short of stealing. Of course, when government does it, I guess it's okay. I don't think many people would argue that a teacher should be able to break into her neighbor's home and steal 10% of her income in order to keep her same wages and benefits. But many people in Wisconsin think it's okay when government does it by taxing the money before it even makes it into the neighbor's home. I guess what really bothers me about this article is that it shows that a large segment of our country doesn't fully grasp the issues that we face in America. The New York Times is a well-circulated, well-read paper, therefore I must assume that this idea is somewhat mainstream. Even today, after Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius admitted that the Obama administration used double counting in order to reduce the cost of Obamacare, I still see people arguing that this program will be a deficit reducer. How can so many people buy into the idea that creating a federal program that manages health care will save the U.S. money? Poor understanding of simple counting and economic theory is alive and well in our country. Those of us who understand that poor economic decisions have negative consequences need to help educate the voting public. I don't believe any change will occur in this country unless we can start electing people who believe in sound money. Well, I came down a little cold yesterday, so that's all I wanted to cover. Remember, let your voice be heard and celebrate your liberties always.